Hey, it is Monday, everybody. Oh man, I can't wait till Mondays to get in the meditation room. It is Monday, and I like to say it like this: if it's Monday, then it's time for Mondays in the meditation room with Dr. K for Midlife Musings. We are redefining, reimagining our lives in this most sacred and divine season, rite of passage of midlife. It's not the end, y'all. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of us coming into our own, recognizing and acknowledging our own power and walking in it. So, welcome to the room. Come on in. Call a sister, text a sister, yell downstairs, get somebody to come on in. I'm sorry, let me take that back. Not just anybody, but another sister that you want to also be empowered and enlightened as a Black woman in midlife. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And even though that's our focus, the space is open to all women. So, welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Musings. What a amazing day it is today as we celebrate and honor um, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his sacrifice, his legacy that he has left in the earth to fight for justice and freedom for all, and especially those who are the descendants of enslaved Africans from the motherland. But even as I honor him, come on, y'all, this is the meditation room. We cannot not honor, come on, Mrs. Coretta Scott King, for the sacrifices that she has made right alongside him and even continued to make before her transition, after he transitioned, and their children. They made a great sacrifice. And so we celebrate, we celebrate, we celebrate. And we are celebrating freedom today. I'm so excited about it. Y'all know I just am beside myself when we get to have guests in the room with us and to share and to talk and to have amazing conversations together. So I'm grateful. Hey, Sister Max, welcome, welcome in the room. And I want to make sure that I give you time to come on in, get some pen and paper, because I know some amazing knowledge is going to be dropped on today. I'm going to bring up our guest momentarily. As you know, one of the things I started doing this season is to acknowledge and share some information from the enlightened woman. I love doing that, right? Inspiration and reflections to rediscover the joy of being you in midlife and beyond. And just a short thing I want to read to you about midlife, right? Midlife requires a radical reset, a reboot of sorts. It marks the transition from one state of being into another. And here's the thing, why the meditation room is so important for us, because there's no midlife womanhood training, no manuals, no celebration or naming ceremony. Midlife is a shift, a transformation. Come on, y'all. What do we say? A rebirth, a becoming. And it's dynamic and fluid. It could be flowing and going. One day you're here, the next day you're next. But the foundation of it all is that we are surrendering to the change and becoming who our Creator has always intended for us to be. It's a very personal and unique experience for every woman, even though we might have some of the similar symptoms and situations and circumstances, but it's really a unique experience for everyone. It's a radicalization. This is where I want to go because we're talking about freedom on tonight. Midlife is a season of radicalization because we are no longer willing to fit into a prescribed box. We are coloring outside the lines and jaywalking into a new existence. But warning, all of this fierceness is going to come with some sacrifices and side effects. Your relationships will have to be redefined, and you may endure painful losses. But you will also celebrate some unexpected gains. Midlife is an experience, a tumultuous journey that, if traveled well, will lead to sacred serenity. And should you choose to embrace the metamorphosis, your spirit, mind, body, and soul will thank you for making peace with yourself. Whew. Love it, love it, love it. Now, I am so excited about our guest on tonight. I like to call her, and I put it in some of my posts. I'll say this is the freedom whisperer, that she empowers women to walk in freedom. And I'm going to allow her to kind of talk about who she is and her journey and her transformation, because I'm believing that when we give voice to ourselves, nobody can declare who we are better than we can. So I want you to thank God for this awesome opportunity, because your life is getting ready to change. I want you to welcome to Mondays in the Meditation Room. She is free herself, the CEO of Life and the She is Free Collective and the She is Free movement. My sister friend, Ms. Vanessa Elam. I feel like we should have a applause track or something going. Woo!
Thank you.
Yay! Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've been talking about it and was hoping to do it prior to now, but I am a firm believer that when it happens, that's when it's supposed to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How are you, Dr. K?
I am wonderful. I
You look
am,
wonderful. You look wonderful.
yeah.
Thank you so much for this honor. Like really, and like you said, we've been talking about doing this for over a year now, since
Mhm.
October of 21. So, like you said, divine timing. When it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be. So,
Yes. And I
um,
can't, first of all, I can't even believe so much time has gone by that
I
we're
know,
in a brand new year.
I
We are
know.
in a brand new year. 2023 is here. And the fact that we are here and in our right mind, considering what the last 3 years has brought us, it is amazing. And we
It
have to
is.
stop and reflect upon what we have come through and how we still have hope for even a greater future. And so I'm
Amen.
excited about it. Excited. So I want to start our conversation about I was so tempted to read the bio and stuff. I was like, oh no, I
I'm
know.
so glad you didn't. I'm so glad you didn't.
Oh, since this is a family, a sisterhood of women who are in midlife. And, of course, textbook, it could be anywhere from 45 to 60. They even stretch some of it to 65. And then even on the other end, you have some women who begin to even experience perimenopause as early as 35
Yep.
and some earlier. So we're talking about that season in our lives, that midway um, rite of passage where it's invisible, but our body, our body, oh my God, recognizes it. Our mind and our spirit. I called it, for me, when I hit the brick wall. I just kept hitting the wall, and I was like, "What's happening? Something is changing, and I
So
gotta
much.
let it change." And so that's what this circle is, because we also talked, Vanessa, in the room and even in our various circles and conferences, when I asked women, most of us had not had that conversation with anybody about
Mm,
what midlife was, what perimenopause was, and what it meant, what menopause meant. And so it's been a journey of educating ourselves. It's been a journey of being able to talk about it. But it is a season of rebirth and renewal. And here's the thing, we're not in that season where we're trying to give birth to other things and other people. It's really giving rebirth to ourselves, a rebirth of
absolutely.
ourselves. And and embracing our joy. So I want to say, who would you say that Vanessa is now in midlife?
Ooh. Um, Fearlessness with wisdom.
So I told y'all better get your pens and paper.
Yeah, fearlessness with wisdom. There were some things I wanted to do or some things I did and tried when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
just because I was young and bold and out there. And I always felt that if I became fearful to try new things, that was going to mean that I'd gotten old. So
Mm,
and that was just my personal definition,
mm-hmm.
of aging would have been like if I don't want, if I'm afraid to try something new, if I'm, building up a bunch of excuses, why not?
Yeah.
That even when I would be around people that were my age when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
but I might say, oh, let's go here or let's try this or that. And they had a bunch of reasons built up
Why not?
why not?
Mm-hmm.
And some were rational, but a lot of them were irrational. They were, they were fearing what would never happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it really, and where they'd say, oh, you're the trendsetter, you go ahead, you go out there and do it. I always wanted to bring somebody with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always kind of been who I am, an inclusive person. And I've had to learn in midlife
Mm-hmm.
that you can't include everybody.
Right.
And that was a tough lesson for me because growing when you're growing up, and I think most of us at some point have experienced rejection.
Mm-hmm.
And that rejection can do a couple of things, but what it did for me was, wow, I never want anybody to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always like let's bring everybody, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody can't go.
Yeah.
And so that's also been a really big part of my midlife, really in the last like 2 or 3 years, has been like it's okay
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes people will just go to a certain distance with you in the journey, and
Yeah.
then your paths go in opposite directions. It's not always easy, but it's often necessary. So
Yeah. That's that whole redefining relationships, not just your
yes.
life, but relationships. And there's no love lost. That's the
No,
good
the
thing.
love can still be there. The
Mhm.
love can still be there. Absolutely.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
think this is such a succinct and amazing way to describe it. Fearless with wisdom.
Fearlessness with wisdom.
Fearlessness with wisdom. And that is a definition of midlife because the truth of the matter is the conditioning and even the collective conditioning of women is to be so reticent, to be so
Mm,
afraid to step out there and experience life and be adventurous and try new things. And so coming into this season, I think a lot of us shed that fear because we're so ready for
yes.
something different. We're so ready for a new way of being and living that we're not willing to let fear. But at the same time, what midlife is that wisdom that we bring some experiences and things that we've learned along the way uh,
Right.
to be a part of it. And sometimes you would think this antithetical, but it's not.
No, no, it's not. It's not. And at this age, at this point in our lives, because that age is different for everyone,
Mhm,
we've seen some stuff work
mhm,
and some stuff that didn't.
mhm,
So it's a beautiful time to be alive because now you have a body of experiences,
mhm.
and not only your own learned experience, but also those of the people that we've been on the journey with.
Yeah.
So we get to see, what's working and what's not.
Mhm.
And I think what's beautiful is really full acceptance of yourself.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of, in many times, I know for me when I was younger, it was just, it was like trying to fit in. And there
Mhm.
was just always this nagging, gnawing, like you ain't supposed to fit in,
Yes.
and if you learn to be okay with
Mhm.
not being liked, with
Mhm.
not being included,
Mhm.
I believe I would have found this path a lot earlier. Honestly,
Yes.
I
Yes.
really do. So I encourage someone who may be listening, who isn't maybe in midlife yet, or
Mhm.
even there, like seriously, be so courageous about being disliked,
Mhm.
because even when you're trying to make everybody happy, somebody's unhappy.
Somebody's unhappy.
Somebody's complaining, somebody don't, so you really, it's that we grew up thinking it was selfish to live for ourselves, but
Mhm.
it's not,
It's not.
because we give to the world a fulfilled, joyful, peaceful person. So any group
Yes.
you're in, any team you're on, any community you're a part of gets the best part of you,
It's the best
because you're
part.
not, yeah.
And
So
you're not lacking because you've done that. You are operating from the fullness of who you are. And
yes,
so you're not giving to get acceptance, like you were saying, or
right,
affirmation, or
right.
our women's ministry is called the Sisterhood. We are doing some reading this year. And our first book for the first quarter is Killing Comparison by Nona Jones.
Good title. I haven't read it, but I love the title.
Can I tell you?
Killing comparison. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
powerful.
and I want to look it up real quick so I can do justice and give the full title, because the full title of it is so powerful. Because as women, of course, that whole comparison,
Mm,
complaining, comparing, and competing is
mm.
so over.
It
We just
breeds
we
discontentment. It breeds,
Yes. Oh my
constant
gosh.
questioning of self. And,
Of self.
yes, yes, the
It's
comparison
breach.
is over.
It's over.
We
And
set the
that's why I love it.
standard.
It's killing comparison. And Vanessa, you can appreciate this and understand that her level of vulnerability and
Mm,
transparency in this book is so powerful that it begins to heal you, because we try to hide feelings that we have,
mm.
of
We do.
angst and not enough, or even envy and all of that. And you gotta just really deal with it. So it's killing comparison, reject the lie you aren't good enough, and
Mm.
live confident in who God made you. It is
Amen.
amen. And
Amen. Amen. Just to the title, like that.
mhm,
Somebody could hear that right there and get a
mhm.
run around the church.
Yep,
Really?
that revelation right there. That's
Yeah.
why I wanted to take a minute to find it so I can read the whole thing, because
The
you're
title.
killing
Yeah.
comparison, reject the lie. And that's the thing that we aren't always willing to do. And sometimes we don't even know it is a lie,
True.
because we've taken that lie as truth. And you have to hear another truth to bump up against that lie so you can take a step back and say, maybe I'm not, all alone in this walk, or maybe,
Right.
I'm not to this or to that, or whatever somebody said you were.
Like being too much.
Being, oh my goodness. And that's
I
the
used to get
mantra.
that all the time. I'm too much.
That's the mantra that they like to give to Black women anyway. We're too
Right.
angry, we're too
Right.
loud, we're
Too
too much,
loud.
we're
Right.
too, it's
All of
always
that.
something.
I got all of that. Absolutely. And I
And
was I was too loud. I was too loud for them.
for
I was too loud for them. But that's
and
okay.
that's the thing,
That
because
that means you're
sometimes
not my tribe. If I'm too loud for
that's what I
you,
was
you're
gonna
not my
say.
tribe. And it's
Sometimes
okay.
it don't it
Yeah.
and we contort ourselves so much trying to fit
Oof.
into
Good
somebody
word.
else's boxes. Makes
Mm.
me say, you too extra. Yeah, too much.
Mm.
I love
Good
it.
word. Contort. Yes.
Yep.
I was a master contortionist.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
trying to twist myself around to, you know, to make myself palatable
Mhm.
for whoever, whatever,
Mhm.
whether it was a relationship, whether it was a group of people, whether it was a community, whether it was a church, whether it was a job.
Mhm.
You know, that contortion. And I do believe that all of that is really rooted in not knowing, when you don't know your worth,
Yep.
when you don't really
Absolutely.
know your worth,
Mhm.
and when you don't value your uniqueness.
Yep.
And you know, I've been this height since I was in fourth or fifth grade.
Mhm.
You know, I had big feet. I'm
Mhm.
5'10". You
Mhm.
know, I had this birthmark on the side of my
Mhm.
face. So like there were lots of things that made me stick out,
Mhm.
you know. And when I didn't want to stick out, I just kind of
Mhm.
wanted to just be cool, you know, with everybody. But God's been calling me to stand out for my entire life, practically. So I love this time of my life because the freedom
Mhm.
of walking in spaces where there are people that are lauded as successful and famous and
Mhm.
powerful, and knowing your worth. There's
Mhm.
nothing like that. There's nothing like
Mhm.
walking in not intimidated,
Ah, yes, that
right? There's
no
nothing
matter
like
what
it. No,
room
I
you're
don't have
in.
a bestseller.
Mhm.
No, I'm not on TV. No, none of that. And knowing that you have value and
Mhm.
that you add something to the room. And in truth, when we're really walking in our uniqueness, when we're really walking in our freedom, the
Mhm.
atmosphere shifts
Oh, it
when we come
shifts.
into a space. It
Absolutely.
absolutely
That
does.
whole
It
thing,
shifts.
and that's one of a great segue into the next question is what would you say is the most significant change or transformation that you have made or recognize in yourself?
In midlife,
Mhm.
um,
Or any season. Look, I don't even want the questions to box you in. So, it could be at any point in your life. What was one of the most significant seasons of change and transformation for you, and that you could really recognize it in yourself that you were different?
um, I think one of the most powerful revelations was that I was powerful.
Mm.
And like
Yes.
that it was okay and it wasn't arrogant
Mhm.
to embrace my power and
Mhm.
my influence.
Yes.
Because other people would share that with me. They would share, you know, how something made them feel, how I made them feel, or how
Mhm.
they were blessed by something, you
Mhm.
know, that I did. And then I would take it in, you know, I learned to take the compliment without, you
Mhm.
know, tearing it down.
Mhm.
But really didn't embody it.
Mhm.
And it was the revelation that my presence, influence, power actually was disturbing people,
Mhm.
was what God used to say, you're going to use your powers for good, because I am.
Mhm. Yep.
Um, but you got to own it in order to use it properly.
Mhm.
You can't keep shrinking from it, because I would
Woo!
shrink from it. I would go a couple
Yeah.
steps forward and then shrink back.
Woo!
Yeah.
You're telling my story. Come on.
Okay. And
Yes.
you know, I remember talking myself out of some opportunities that were
Mhm.
laid at my feet.
Mhm.
And I would make excuses why I couldn't
Mhm.
do it, because I was intimidated by the opportunity. I was
Yeah.
intimidated by the door.
Mhm.
And you know, I've always, the ministry that I named many, many years ago at my former church was the Open Door Women's Ministry. And it
Mhm.
was because at that stage, God had opened so many doors for me.
Mhm.
And the scripture is Revelation 3.
Mhm.
Um, so it was as doors began to open and I claimed doors and I spoke doors opening.
Mhm.
And then they opened and I said I was ready. I wasn't always ready.
Yes.
So,
And
so I'm in a
that's
season
good.
now where I'm saying, God, I believe that door is coming back around, and trust me, when it
Yes.
comes down, I'm kicking
Yes.
it in, you know, and I have been able to kick it in.
Mhm.
But I learned from that, not to have regret, but
Mhm.
to look at it as a lesson, because
Absolutely.
every quote unquote failure
Mhm.
really is an opportunity to learn about how to do it better.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and
that's another
yeah.
thing in midlife. I don't have time to go through regrets and what I wish I had done and how
Mhm.
much earlier I wish I had done it.
Mm-mm.
I
It doesn't serve you.
give
It
out that
doesn't
time.
serve you well. It doesn't serve you well at all. That was one of the things I think I shared in a book or in a conference or something somewhere, that that whole regret piece can keep you stuck
Mhm.
when you think about, oh man, how many years has gone by? Why didn't I do it then? Or I should have did, and why didn't I do that? And I am now a convinced and firm believer that God doesn't operate in time. God don't
Mm,
tell time.
I know that's right. That is so
God
true. I'm a firm believer in that as well.
is,
Yeah.
and
Because if
even
he did, we
sometimes.
wouldn't be our best self now. We would have been our best self when we were 20 and 30 based on the
Mhm,
culture and what the world says. But
mhm.
instead, look at the work you're doing,
Yep.
Dr. K.
Yeah.
Like, women are coming into their own and recognizing how brilliant they are, how the
Yes.
genius in them, the
Oh, I got a
beauty in
oh, I
them,
can't wait to
the
do that one.
power in them, the
Genius.
influence in them.
Yes.
So yeah, if it was on man's time, we'd be washed up because the generations before us thought it was
Mhm.
over for them.
Yes.
This was the age where, I remember hearing someone say, 60
Mhm.
was old. And I was like, dang, like, I don't think 60 is old.
Well, wait, Vanessa, can I tell you there's actually articles and research, because my husband and I are reading all kind of stuff now, I mean, as it relates to midlife and
Your life.
that, and many of the articles say you don't come into your own fully until 60.
Come on. Come on.
And that thing, and we just started reading, and I said, "Oh my God, is
That's
this
some good news.
that's some good news." And it's absolutely true, because there's something about, and I'm not saying that you can't, be confident and all of that in your youth, but there's something about living. There's something about
Mhm.
a the mystery of that invisible line you cross at a certain time in
Mm,
your life
mm. That's
that
beautiful.
comes with its own empowerment and set of confidence
Mm,
that you cannot explain.
mm,
It is an unbelievable place, because you have to really reflect on your life and get to that place where you acknowledge the root of certain behaviors so that you can dismiss it, so you can let it go, so you can move forward, and that failure is not a thing. We have made failure a thing.
right. Right.
That, like you mentioned earlier, it is that learning curve.
Yep.
It's always learning.
Yes. Yes. And it's like,
And
okay, let me learn from that.
mhm.
And sometimes we learn the failure, if you want to call it that, um, sometimes teaches us that something is or isn't for us.
It isn't for us, because
But it's
we're
easy
always
to
trying
sit
to make.
back and be an armchair quarterback and say, "Oh
Mhm,
yeah, that's not going to work because of this. That's not going to work." But I tell you something, I would much rather have figured it out,
mhm,
gotten a lesson from it,
mm,
and some of my lessons have been hard, but they were hard really. I made them hard,
mhm,
you know. Um, but I do, always say I'm called to women that are ready.
mhm,
Because if you have to be willing to own the whole journey.
mhm. The whole journey, that's
The
your
whole
story.
journey.
That's
The
the
good,
mosaic that
the
makes up
good,
your
the not
life.
so good, the sticky stuff,
Mhm,
the ugly stuff, the
mhm.
as Tony Jones says, that's the stuff that's not so IG shiny.
IG
Um,
shiny,
right?
what I call the shadow and shine. That is
The
part of who you
shadow and
are, and don't try
absolutely.
to get rid of your shadow. Your
Come
shadow
on.
and your shine is who you are, and
Come on.
embrace it and be okay. And this midlife season for me has really been giving myself permission to not know it
Mhm.
all, to start over again, to
Yeah.
figure it out and be okay.
Mm.
Because men have been given the freedom to do that. They can mess up royally. They can
Woo!
a company. They can destroy
Come
their
on,
marriage and will be given carte blanche to start all over again.
start all
And
over
people
again.
don't even remember who they are.
And
It's only
welcomed with
women
open arms when they
with
do.
open arms. It's only
Yeah,
women who have to wear a scarlet letter on their chest and be forever, in
talk
sackcloth and
about it.
ashes. But as old school is, the devil is a lie. Nope, we get to give
A
ourselves permission
liar. Yes.
to grow, to grow. So I can't. I just. Oh my God. So here's where I want to go next. This is such a good conversation, but I have to be able to have you talk about the She Is Free movement and what that means and what freedom is to you.
Mm. The movement is what freedom means to every woman individually.
Mhm.
For some women, it is financial.
Mhm.
They may feel free in one area, but not maybe finances. Some don't feel free to express themselves.
Mhm.
So what we've done in the She Is Free movement in the last 3 years, and we're coming up on our 4th anniversary this week.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
yes. So this is a big week
Mhm.
about to happen. Is the reclaiming.
Mhm.
And God gave me that word 3 years ago as my word for the year. It has continued past
Mhm.
2020. And the reclaiming is, I believe that God gave us everything when we were born.
Mhm.
And what happens is pieces of us get taken away on
Wait,
on
can I
this
jump down
journey.
out my chair so I can run around the chair?
So pieces
Yes.
of us get stolen,
Mhm.
um, tucked away,
Mhm.
hidden, lost. And some we're not even aware of them
Mhm.
because they are attached to another part of ourselves that has been, lost. So the reclaiming work is what the She Is Free movement does.
Mhm.
It empowers women by helping them to access the tools
Mhm.
that help them reclaim. And
Mhm.
it's so funny. I talk for a living,
Mhm.
and I'm a recruiting strategist in my job,
Mhm.
and then speaking and preaching and all of that. And one of the first things that God gave me to reclaim was my voice, and I was like,
Mhm.
that's weird, that's odd, but I'll write it down anyway. But like, okay.
Mhm.
And I realized that there was more I needed to say,
Mhm.
more I needed to speak up about,
Wow.
and that was going to help the women that I'm called to coach and to teach, educate.
Woo.
So yeah, it's been so for me. Freedom is living my truth
Mhm.
out loud, enjoy. I know we say unapologetic. I know it's the buzzword of the season, but it
It's
is
still true.
it is still true.
Mhm.
Unapologetically, I am me
Mhm.
in all of my 5'10" curviness,
Glory.
glory, and I am loud. Um, just I am.
And it
Um,
and it is such it is so it's this is gonna seem like a strange word to say, but it's so comforting. It's
mm,
comforting to women to see their truth in other women
mm,
and to feel free to embrace it, to
yes.
give ourselves permission
That's
to
true.
do that.
Because I've been inspired by other women, watching them
Mhm.
live out
Yep.
who they really are. Look, like you can see freedom. Sometimes we see it on a dance floor, and we're like,
Mhm.
it's that I'm me. I'm
Mhm.
me. Take it or leave it.
Mhm.
I'm not sitting there waiting for your approval. I don't need you on my.
Mhm. Oh,
It's that's and so that's the way I get to live now.
yeah.
And I
And
was
that's who we are, though, at our core, Vanessa. That's why I
it's
love
who we were
that you're
designed to be.
focusing on that. And I get to see it through my granddaughters. Their
Mm,
level of freedom is so um, just healing and amazing.
mm,
And that it then it fuels my assignment to um, help girls embrace it and keep it, because
Yeah.
like you said, as we live, pieces of us get taken away
Yep.
or stolen, or we even give it away,
We give
whatever
it
it
away
is.
sometimes. Yeah.
And it often says that by the time they're 9, they've already started hiding pieces of who they are
I
to
believe that.
to keep the boat from rocking, to get friends or to get boys to like them with at
Yeah.
by 9. And sometimes I think it's even younger, but depending on the voices that are around them,
Absolutely.
they begin to lose it. So I'm on a quest
Mm.
and working on some things now to start and just follow girls along that trajectory, all the
God bless.
way up, so that those rites of passages and those things that they're taught can be a part of who they are
Mm-hmm.
at much younger. Because even though we're celebrating midlife, the truth of the matter is we're supposed to be celebrating those rites of passages all along the way.
All along. All along. And I
Empowering.
do think too, if we caught them,
Mhm,
you know, earlier, you
mhm,
know, the earlier we catch them, the better,
mhm.
and then they're not just starting to live at 60 or 70. Thank God I'm not,
Yes.
but and it's never too late. Whenever you get on
Mhm,
the journey, get on it.
mhm.
But I also think that the traumas, the unnecessary traumas that
Yep.
are experienced as a result of that loss
Mhm,
of pieces of ourselves,
mhm,
um not being celebrated for uniqueness. And
mhm.
I
Oh my God.
definitely believe that, as hard as we may have had it with peer pressure, what our young people experience now with social media,
Social media, yes.
makes it even more dire.
Mhm.
And let me know how I can help you with that work, because
Absolutely, it's so
yeah.
because I'm so excited about it. I'm trying not to talk about it yet because I'm not. I wanted to make sure I have the pieces in. But here's the other thing about being in midlife. That whole piece, just they don't got to be perfect before you start it. So
Woo!
it's like let's move
Okay, talk
forward.
about that. Talk about
Mhm.
that, Dr. K, because that
Yep.
perfectionism
The
is a
devil.
growth stunter. Like, it'll jack you up. You won't ever get anything started trying to be perfect. And that was me. I was trying to, it had to be a certain way, but all of
Mhm.
that boiled down to what you talked about a minute ago, which is comparison.
Yep.
Not getting it started because I'm comparing it to somebody who also probably made a lot of mistakes and started over, and
Yes.
whether with but we look at that finished product, and that is something we have to stop doing. I'm going to get that book because
Yep.
it
Killing
just sounds like
comparisons.
such
Yes.
a
Yes. Yes.
powerful one. And there is
And
a book
here's the
club that I
the
might be a part of soon, and that might be a really great
Oh,
book.
yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. When you get it, and Vanessa, because I'm telling you that thing you talked about, unnecessary trauma, because we both, are still preachers and we have
yeah.
that church background, religion. I think that has done such a number on us as women, that we have glorified suffering, that we have lifted up suffering as a trophy to show that we love God.
Ah,
I'm like, yeah, no.
okay. I'm gonna get up and run around, and I'll be right back.
Girl, I'm so over all of that making it
Oh,
like,
Dr. K, the
mm,
the the unlearning that we have to
mhm,
do at
mhm,
this stage
mhm,
is as important, if not
mhm.
more so,
More
than what
so.
we need to learn.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
I really do think it's not, someone said, not a new me, but a true me.
Love it. Love it.
Our girl Tony said that. Not a new me, but a true me.
Mhm,
So it's not like I'm being reinvented. This beauty, this freedom, this
mhm.
birthright we had, it was always there. It was
Always
all of
there.
that junk that got thrown on top of us, all that muck and that mire.
Mhm.
And I dare say, and sadly say, that a lot of it came from the church.
Oh,
And
You know what? I would
I remember
look
when I
if
heard that struggle love
if you
song.
let me tell it, I would say 85 to 95% of
Okay, I'm just saying it's really
it.
and I appreciate that coming from you as a
Mhm,
pastor. I do.
mhm,
Um the How do I say it? The other thing I don't do is mince words
mhm,
anymore. Um is the patriarchal
mhm,
construct
mhm,
to control
mhm,
women
mhm,
and our gifts
mhm,
and the expression of the gifts,
mhm,
um, and our power and
mhm.
our voice has
The
messed up
that's
a lot
nothing
of
but
us.
a big fear of the power.
Yes, yes. And so that fear um, results in manipulation and
Yep.
gaslighting
Mhm.
and aligning that with the word of God
Yep. Using it as a weapon
as a weapon,
and a
weaponizing
means of
the
control.
word of God,
Mhm.
and that the cultural, if you not sacrificing, if you're not struggling, if you ain't crying, if you ain't laying at the altar all the time, that you're not,
You
you
that ain't
know,
real.
you,
That ain't no real relationship with God. I'm like, you know what?
and I'm like, golly, this is, and but the thing is, I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I was
Mhm.
living it.
Mhm.
But then I started to ask, because one of the things I just love about God is we can ask him questions.
Mhm.
And um, God is not intimidated by our questions.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And I began to ask some questions, and I said, I'll wait as long as you want to take to give me
Mhm.
the answers. But these
Mhm.
are some real questions I have.
Yep.
Like, why this?
Why this?
Why that? How are we your righteousness, but men are here and women are there
Mhm. And we're told we're unrighteous just by virtue of ovaries.
of ovaries? So much that has to be
Unlearned.
unlearned.
Mhm.
And you know I celebrate God, I love God, I praise God, I worship God. So grateful that the freedom I received even from moving out of that construct
Mhm.
and being able to celebrate the God in me,
Mhm.
um, is a place of peace I can't describe.
And God is in you as a woman.
As a woman, if I am created
In the
in the
image.
image of God,
Mhm.
God
Why not?
God has to be also woman.
Yep. In me. I just start saying she. So I'm just like
See, I'm good with she.
mhm.
Now she will disrupt some people. In fact, we might even lose some people
Mhm.
live in a minute.
Because
Okay,
my argument is this, Vanessa. I'm like, if God is spirit, then why can't I use she? If you can
right,
use he, but God is spirit, why can't I
right,
use she?
right. Because we were
It
taught,
doesn't diminish God. If it doesn't diminish God for me to say he, him,
right,
then it can't diminish God if I say she, her,
she, her. That's right.
because
That's
God
right.
is spirit and God encompasses both.
Encompasses both. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
We wouldn't be here.
We wouldn't be here.
Okay, so let me just establish up front that we're gonna do part two, part three, because
Boom, boom,
it's
boom.
so
We'll do
much
it.
stuff on my paper, and we have to, I try to make a promise to not take up too much time, but we have to take a few minutes, because I want to talk about the Goddess Getaway and why we need that,
Yes,
but we have to take a minute to talk about this weekend. And so I'm looking for my little thing. I'm learning how to do stuff. It ain't always perfect. So we getting ready to be cut off for a minute because I'm going to put this up here like this.
that's
Ow!
okay. Yes. Shout out to our girl Deborah Johnson that did that flyer. I love that flyer.
So
Yes, indeed.
tell us about this weekend and what's happening.
Let me tell you, this weekend is personally for me, it is the way I am celebrating the anniversary of She Is Free.
Mhm.
Tony Jones is an affirmation artist who someone shared with me back in 2019, maybe
Mhm.
2019, I think 2018, 2019. Started listening to her music. Literally, she was speaking my heart. I
Mhm.
was repeating. Oh, you know something good when you just keep hitting repeat. Go back over it.
Mhm.
Go. It's like, wait a minute. What did she say?
Mhm.
So she is an amazing artist. She is an innovator and pioneer for affirmation music.
Mhm.
She was a coach and psychologist, and she originally started doing this music for her coaching clients to help kind
Mhm.
of give them an on-the-go tool to
Wow.
support them in,
Love it.
in what their journey and whatever they were working on. And then, sister is out here like doing it. This is her. The album Me Versus Every Me is her
Oh,
third album. She's also on other albums that I discovered that I didn't know about. So she's got stuff there. Her music was recently on the Shy, the series The Shy.
wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, which is pretty awesome. They were playing. I think it was Energy Budget.
Oh my
I'm trying to
gosh.
remember. Yeah, I'm trying to remember which song it was.
Mhm.
But she is coming to the DMV this weekend. On Saturday night, she will be with us at the Hampton Inn and Suites in Alexandria, Virginia. We are sold out.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
it
I'm
is
getting ready to
sold.
tell people to get tickets. Ain't no tickets to
It
get
is
got.
sold out. It is sold out. Which is a blessing. Which is a blessing.
Mhm.
Now I wish we had more space so we could add more seats. In the ballroom that we're in. Although this space wound up, we had to go to a larger space. The space we
Mhm.
would have been at could only hold 55 people. So this
Mhm.
space holds twice that many.
Mhm.
So we have 112 persons coming on Saturday night
I love
to
it.
enjoy and be in this sacred sister space of
Mhm.
music and affirmation. We are celebrating our, if I can say it, bad assery
Yes.
and our goddessness,
Mhm.
and I think it's going to be an amazing night. It really is. It really
I'm
is.
so looking forward
Super,
to it.
super excited. My
Mhm.
husband said to me a couple weeks ago, we were having dinner, and he said, "How does it feel?" He said, "Because how many people actually get to bring their favorite artist
Mhm.
to perform, for
Mhm.
their, organization or whatever." And
Mhm.
Dr. Kelly, that's the other thing that I'm slowing down about, is slowing down a little in midlife.
Mhm.
Not slowing down because I'm old,
Mhm.
slowing down to enjoy.
Mhm.
I'm
Yes.
so used to, you have the idea, the concept comes, you make it happen. And, this is something that has been literally 3 years in the works.
Oh
I
my
reached out to her on IG 3 years ago, and she said, right now is not a good time. I'm working on something. She was kind of in her
Mhm.
creative bubble. Well, little
Mhm.
did I know, shortly after that, a few months, I See Me mantras
Mm.
emerged in the
Mhm.
middle of the pandemic in 2020. Um, and it's just been, that's now for me. I See Me is my, like, I listen to that practically every day.
Mhm.
But it is, so I'm now, this week, even though we're working on, just some final details, it's
Mhm.
just the enjoyment of it. I'm going to be fully immersed in the experience, just like
Yes.
y'all on
Mhm.
Saturday night, because I don't want to miss it
Mhm.
running it. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
It is going to be life-changing, shifting,
Yes.
transformational, all of the above. And I'm sorry, y'all. I was ready to say, get your tickets, get your tickets. I'm so excited to hear her say the tickets then got, and they are gone, which means that has to happen again.
It has to
Because
happen
we
again.
have to expose her to as many women as we can, because you need to fill your atmosphere
Mm.
with some affirmation, and I absolutely love it. And of course, we have to do it again, because I just loved hearing you say, me and my husband was at dinner talking. Because for those of you who don't know, Miss Vanessa Elam is a newlywed, and she's now Miss Vanessa Elam Burns. And so excited for that. There's so much more we got to talk about. So we got to do it again. Thank you so much
Thank
for this
you.
time. And I know that the sisters have been absolutely blessed, blessed, blessed. Some of the comments are just wonderful. So
Oh,
I'm
I'm so
excited.
glad. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go back and respond to any in case
Mhm.
there's anything I need to respond to. I'm
Mhm.
happy to do that. This Dr. Kelly, thank you for the work you do.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving voice
Mhm.
to women in midlife
Yeah.
and celebrating
Mhm.
this midlife journey and opening the understanding so that women aren't dreading
Mhm.
this time.
Mhm.
We still dancing, we still
Mhm.
flying, we still, we catching flights, not
Yes.
feelings.
Mm-mm.
We're life is beautiful.
Mhm.
Life is beautiful. And yeah, there's a lot that's going on in our bodies and all of that.
Mhm.
And I love that there are resources now like never
Yep.
before.
Yep.
Resources our moms didn't have, that our
Mhm.
grandmothers didn't have.
Mhm.
Education is right
Mhm.
at our fingertips,
Yep.
that we can navigate this journey so much
Mhm.
better. So thank you for being that voice. Thank you for
Yes.
living what you preach. Um,
Ah, Lord.
I really appreciate that. I love the work that you're doing. The Enlightened Woman and I should have brought mine upstairs, but it's next to my sofa, my little table on my sofa. It's open often, because I need the inspiration. Because
Mhm.
there's a lot of inspiration
Mhm.
in the Enlightened Woman. So
Yeah.
I'm excited, and it was wonderful to have you at the Goddess Getaway
Oh my God.
in
And,
2021. It was like, wow.
it was one of those things when spirit calls you to it. Because when
Mm.
I saw that, I was like, I'm supposed to be there.
And we didn't even know each other.
Mm-mm. Yep.
Yeah,
And
I
that was
don't
just
think
that's
most
what I was
people in the
like.
room
That's
didn't
how
know
I
that we didn't
knew.
know each other.
That's how I knew was God when it was just a pull, and
Mm.
oftentimes that's just how spirit works.
Yes,
Because I've gotten over being afraid to go into places when I don't really know people. I was blessed, and then at the last minute to come with our friend Vita, but I was getting ready to get on that road and drive to Delaware all by myself, which I did.
I love it.
I
I
did.
love it.
So that's it. Just as we sign off, can you share with the people where they can follow you on social media?
Absolutely. I'm on Facebook as Vanessa Elam. I'm still trying to figure out how to add both of my last names
Mhm.
because Vanessa Elam is a brand.
Mhm.
I'm on IG. You can DM me also, VanessaElam.com. The She is Free Collective we're building that site up right now. It's just being used for our tickets.
Mhm.
And also, thank you, Dr. K, for being a part of the She is Free Collective, which
Woohoo!
is women collaborating on events like this, and collaborating on ideas that bring more freedom to women, more enlightenment to women. So
Mhm.
I'm so grateful for your partnership and your
Yes.
platinum sponsorship in
Yeah.
this Tony Jones event. I really am.
Yeah. Oh man, that's look, as we said, church folks, that's sowing in good
Uh
ground.
oh, I lost you.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Oh no. You lost your sound?
I don't know what happened.
I can hear you, but we're good. So we're getting ready to close out on tonight, everybody. Thank you for joining us on Mondays in the meditation room uh, with Dr. K for Midlife Musings. Look forward to having Vanessa back in the room.
Oh, I
Have
lost
an amazing, amazing evening. You know what we say. Take a
you.
deep
Hear me?
breath in
Oh no.
and release
I don't know what happened.
and receive all that God has given to you on tonight. And look forward to having her back in the room real soon. Absolutely love you guys. Have an amazing night on tonight and sleep well with all this new revelation that you have, that you've been given, and celebrate it and celebrate it and celebrate it. All right, guys, have a great one, and we'll see you soon. Absolutely love you guys. Have an amazing night on tonight, and sleep well with all